In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the fuel pump assembly on your Honda Pilot. This can be found under the second row of seats. Let's get started. On the top of our fuse panel, we'll find a single 15 amp fuse. That is going to be for the fuel pump. I'm using a fuse puller, and we're going to pull that fuse out. There's a diagram on the kick panel that will label where the fuel pump fuse is for you. And you can see right here, fuel pump is on the top, 15 amp fuse. With our fuel pump fuse pulled, we're going to put the key in and start the car. And we're going to let this run until it sputters out. Using a 10mm wrench, we're going to loosen the negative terminal on the battery. We're going to take off the two caps on the front of the seat. Just using a little pick to pop the cap off. Under that, you'll find a bolt. Using a 14mm socket, remove the bolt. Do the same thing on the other side. Using a plastic trim tool, we're going to pop this cover up and off, and under there we'll find another 14mm bolt. Remove that bolt. With both bolts removed, we're going to slide our seat back. And at this point, we want to fold our seat in half. And we're going to remove this out of the car. If you don't want to remove this out of the car, you can slide it back towards the third row. Under this flap, you're going to find the cover for the fuel pump. To get to the fuel pump, we're going to have to take out the few screws. In this carpet, there is a dotted line. They did plan for this job to happen. So they planned for you to cut open this carpet. You might be able to get this without cutting the carpet, but I do recommend doing this. When you're cutting right here, be very careful because this is where the harness is running, and we do not want to cut any of the wires. And just like that, we have all the room. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, we're going to take out the 4 screws around this plate. With the 4 screws removed, we're going to pull up on this plate. But we're also going to push this grommet down in. We're going to twist our cover up and back and get it out of the way. And inside of here, we'll have the connector for the fuel pump. There's going to be a push button right here. We're going to push on that and pull straight up on the connector and remove it from the fuel pump. Now we can pull the cover totally out of the way. Using a vacuum, we're going to vacuum up all of the dust and dirt around the cap and on top of the fuel pump. I'm putting a rag under our line connection right here. This is going to catch any fluid if it leaks out during this process. Squeeze these two clips together and then pull back on the line and release it from the pump. I'm gonna get any gas out of here. And I'm gonna leave this wrapped in that rag. Using a punch and a hammer, we're gonna spin this lock off. If you're using a metal punch, make sure that you use a non-metal hammer. We do not want to make any sparks near here. If you have a metal hammer, use a brass punch. Remove the fuel pump ring. Remove this tab. Pull straight up on the fuel pump. Pull it up just slightly and then let it drain back a bit. And remove the fuel pump. We're going to grab our gasket. We're going to slide this onto the pump. Slide the gasket all the way to the top. The flat part of the gasket should be at the top, and the split part should be at the bottom. Install the arm. With our pump assembled, we're going to drop it into the tank. With your pump dropped in, at this point we're going to push the gasket off of that top ring, and we're going to push it onto our tank. And with that gasket fully seated on our tank, then we can push our pump down onto it, just like that. Grab the plastic washer, and grab your new ring. And get this started. Take the yellow cap off of the new pump. We're going to install our orange clip into our fuel line and install that. Push until you hear a click. Give it a pull back, make sure it's nice and secure. If you have a fuel pump lock ring tool, torque the lock ring to 69 foot-pounds. If you don't have the tool, use your hammer and punch and get it to 69 foot-pounds the best you can. I've hit a point where my hammer and punch won't move the lock ring anymore. We're going to push our grommet through our plate. Snug down the 4 screws and then pull your top back over. I'm also going to push this carpet back down and kind of try and tuck it under this other seam. Install the seat into the car. Get it lined up and get the bolts started. And before we snug these rear ones down, we want to get the front one started as well. With all of our bolts started, we'll go around and snug them down. Install the plastic covers. These plastic covers will hook in on the left side and then hinge down and click in on this right side. Install the negative battery terminal and snug it down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.